Welcome to another edition of Breaking Free, where we discuss culturally competent cessation strategies and topics related to you, our learning collaborative, and community members interested in cessation and ending the tobacco industry's tricks of the trade. My name is Sharice, and I'm a project assistant with Breaking Free. And today we're joining with Gary Williams again, who joined us in our June edition of Breaking Free and discussed his cessation strategies with nicotine, how he stopped smoking, and his son being the impetus of stopping smoking. And so we want to say welcome again to Gary, and thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for joining us for another part.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. So we discussed this a little bit, but how was your Father's Day, and how does it feel to be a graduate and moving forward and meeting your goals?
I love being a father. I had a good Father's Day. Me and my son, we just really relaxed all day, but then we went out and got some food. He's like a homebody, so as long as he's here with me, he's fine with that, and I was fine with that too, because I needed to relax because I felt like I was doing too much stuff. But other than that, I had a great Father's Day. I spent it with my son and my mother, and I enjoyed their time and being in their space, and I really am grateful for graduating. That's one of my goals. One of my short-term goals was to graduate with the AA degree. I look forward to pursuing my education and, getting my bachelor's degree, and then, hopefully going into the master's program.
Yeah, I love your goals. I actually saw your website, your merchandise website. So, yeah. Yeah, so talk a little bit about that. I think that's really cool that you are even doing, because Gary has a foundation called I Am Weird Foundation, and it looks like he has some merchandise now as well. So
the I Am Weird Foundation is a foundation that's focused on mental health, bringing awareness to the mental health community. In our community, in the Black community, there's a stigma surrounding mental health where a lot of us don't seek treatment or ask for help because for whatever reason, we're taught to be strong, that we don't need no help, that we endured all this stuff for the last 400 years, we'll get through it. But I think that that's a negative connotation. And I feel that everybody needs help. And that's why, I focused on building the foundation. And I named it I Am Weird because in the Bible, God talks about how we're going to be a peculiar people. And I feel that after looking up the definitions, I am weird was one of the synonyms for peculiar. And, me having lived experience with mental health, being diagnosed at a young age, that's what got me to where I'm at, being self-aware of asking for help, seeking treatment, seeing a therapist, my psychiatrist. I weaned off of the prescription medication by doing holistic healing, yoga, meditation, box breathing, stuff like that. And I just want to, be basically, I Am Weird is a free resource to families impacted by mental health. So as myself, I'm a drug and alcohol counselor. I'm a domestic violence counselor, and I'm able to offer anger management, peer support groups, recovery services, stuff like that. And I feel that, our community needs, especially where I live in Moreno Valley and Riverside County, I don't feel that there's enough resources. So I want to be a resource and give back to the community by providing those free resources. And what I did is I created a clothing brand. So the clothing brand actually started before the foundation. And that's how, I incorporated the foundation because I wanted to, as an entrepreneur, I wanted to build a clothing brand for myself. And I named it I Am Weird Clothing. And I felt that, it helps people express their identity, because we're all unique, we're all special in some type of way. And I want to help people break the stigma of, not being their authentic self. So I created I Am Weird to basically, help express my creativity. And, I feel that by doing that, it shows people that I'm different, that I'm not normal, and I don't want to be normal, and what I mean is, we all have this notion of, doing things in a systematic order. And I feel like I'm the one who always rebels. So I just want to continue, to, spread light around mental health and be a mental health advocate. And by doing that, it's also helping me, understand my diagnosis in the mental health field and to see how I could become better equipped to not only help my friends and family, but people who suffer from mental health. And, I had a lot of great feedback because I actually worked in mental health for the last 3 years in the crisis stabilization unit, which is a 24-hour mental health facility. I worked as assessments at I worked at the substance SAPT, which is the substance abuse prevention treatment for the county of Riverside. I did that for a little while. And I just felt that, since I already have my own foundation, which is a nonprofit, I need to incorporate everything I'm doing into myself and to build my foundation. So, I could leave a legacy for my kids. And I feel that me having lived experience with mental health, I'm not saying that I'm more experienced than psychiatrists and therapists. I'm just saying people relate to me better because I actually go through what they're going through and I know how they're feeling.
And then by you doing that, that will probably even help propel them to do the same thing in their environment. So it causes a ripple effect.
Yeah, because everybody talks about mental health, but they don't understand that people need to be advocates for themselves, and that's what I teach them. I teach them the skills and tools necessary, like life skills. Mental health is like broad. So it's not just about, seeing a therapist or a psychiatrist. It's also about, self-love. It's also about learning skills and tools that help you because, we don't have access to psychiatrists and therapists 24 hours of the day. So what if somebody's going through, a manic episode or depression or anxiety? I teach them skills to how to cope with it. Like I help them create a plan if something like that was to happen. And, I feel that, yes, I'm not always going to be available, but I try to make myself available, especially to the people that I come in contact with, because me having to deal with mental health for the past couple of years and not having that adequate access is what I mean is, I have Kaiser, but it takes me 4 or 5 months to see my therapist or psychiatrist. So that's why I really created the foundation, is because it's like, if I'm really going through something, I'm not going to have the proper help. So I need to learn these skills and tools to help myself so I don't have a breakdown. And I feel that other people could learn this too, but they really have to want to change.
Right. That's a good point. And speaking about that, you mentioned that mental health or knowing those skills, those coping mechanisms and strategies helped you with stopping nicotine smoking. So are there any specific tools that you can share that helped you with that, or anything that you can talk about? Just a short version of it. I know that there's more to it, but if there's anything that you may be
It
able
was
to.
learning the box breathing. Like I told you on the last episode, it was hard for me transitioning. I'll have the cravings, I'll have the withdrawals, but learning how to do the box breathing, that really helped me. The meditation, and by me meditating and learning how to breathe correctly, after the 7 minutes, because that's how long it takes, right? The craving is 7 minutes at a time. So if I could get past that first 7 minutes by me doing breathing exercises or meditating, that's what really helped me. And not only the breathing and the meditation, but just understanding the health disparities that come from smoking nicotine, type 2 diabetes, lung and throat cancer. I'm only 36 years old and my sons are only 9 and 11. I want to be here to see them graduate. So that was another key element for me to stop smoking, was to understand that if I continue down this path, that, my health is going to deteriorate and I'm not going to be around to see them graduate or to see them have kids or get married or anything like that. And, just me being conscious and learning how to breathe correctly, that's like one of the main tools that help me. Is just, we get anxious, but when we learn how to breathe correctly, the anxiety subsides. And if I wouldn't have learned the breathing techniques that I learned, then I don't think I would have been able to transition and to stop smoking nicotine.
So, so did those same I know you mentioned before also something about other substances. So you stopped those substances before learning those strategies. Can you talk a bit about that, of how you stopped and how that happened, and a bit of even,
Well,
you know,
when it's been a couple years since I stopped smoking the marijuana, right? But it was actually like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to sit here and lie, but it was like a divine intervention. So I was at an event in Texas, and I was with two of my friends, and I had a little piece of, a blunt. I had a little piece of blunt, and I was gonna go smoke it. And the girls was like, "Hey, we're going to church. We think you should come with us." And I was like, "Nah, I'm about to go get high." I'm being honest. I'm like, "I'm about to go get high," and they're like, "Nah, God's telling us to tell you to come to church." So I was just like, "That's a sign." So I said, "Okay, I'll go with you guys to church," and I went with them. But as soon as I walked into the church, the pastor was preaching, and he said, "Somebody just walked in here, and God wants you to know, when you leave here, you're not going to have to smoke that stuff to go to sleep. You're not going to have the nightmares and stuff no more." So I'm just like weirded out, like, what? Like, is he talking to me? Because I listen, and I'm like, is the pastor talking to me? Did God give this guy a message to convey to me? And I just continued to go in there, sat down, and then he's like, "Yeah, that same person, God wants you to know that there's people here that want to pray for you. So if you need any prayer, are you trying to heal, stuff like that, let us know." So I raised my hand, and then 10 people came and put hands on me and started praying over me. I started crying, stuff like that, and then after church was over, that little piece of blood I had, I threw it out, and I never smoked again. And that's why when you say the tools, conveying back to how I stopped, no, I didn't have those tools, but that in that instant, I had something else where I feel like it was a miracle. But with the tobacco, even though I was praying and stuff like that, it was harder. So I had to learn those tools, even though I know God was there helping me. If I didn't have the tools of, I call it box breathing, and learning how to meditate, I would have never been able to stop smoking, even though God was guiding me, because nicotine was, it was so addicted to me because I smoked since I was a kid. I was always dependent. And that's another thing when I talk about the mental health, and I said I'm not on the pharmaceutical drugs, it's because I don't want to depend on anything. I want to depend on God first, and then all the tools and skills I have to help me, holistically, because I don't want to be dependent, taking pills for the rest of my life. So I had to learn um, different ways of trying to help subside the cravings that I had when it came to nicotine. So, like chewing gum, or when I feel like, say, because it's still only 6 months, say that the craving does come, I eat, I go for a walk, I read a book, I try to, um, you know, do something different to get those thoughts from reoccurring. So I start reading, I start walking, ride my bike, do stuff like that, or, I figure out a way to reverse those thoughts to where I'm not thinking about picking up a cigarette or smoking.
um, and you started even smoking marijuana when you were a little boy as well, right?
I started smoking marijuana at 9 years old. Um, I think I told you before, my uncle was in and out of prison, just like he is now. He's in and out of prison. He came home, I was 9, and he introduced me to marijuana. I didn't know what it is. All I know is once I smoked it, it made me laugh and stuff like that. So I continued to do it because I liked how it made me feel. I didn't know that it was going to affect me mentally, by having racing thoughts and being paranoid all the time, stuff like that. I thought it was normal, but that's why I had to quit, because it got worse as I got older. Even though I smoked for so long, that's what was weird about it. It's like I've been smoking all my life, and now I'm having paranoia. Now I'm having psychosis, and I think it was because I'm diagnosed with the mental health that, the psychiatrist was like, "Hey man, it's not good that you smoke marijuana when you have this type of diagnosis." And I was just like, "Nah, whatever, man. I've been smoking since I was a kid." And then, it got worse. And then I understood, like, man, this dude obviously knows what he's talking about, because now that I don't smoke it, I'm able to sleep. I don't have to, I don't have insomnia. I'm not dependent on the marijuana or the nicotine to go to sleep anymore. So, it's weird that, I would never have my child or any of my nephews smoke at that age, but, I don't think well, nah, my uncle didn't think nothing was wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? He was raised like that. So, I don't think he was doing it to harm me, but yeah, I've been smoking weed since I was 9 years old. And it really helped me, because when I was 9, that's when my uncle committed suicide, hung himself on my birthday in the garage. So it really was helping me at the same time, me smoking the marijuana. It helped me cope with those feelings, because me and him had a strong relationship. And, he was supposed to barbecue that day. And then next thing you know, we found him in the garage hanging, and I had to get the next door neighbor to cut him down. So the marijuana, even though I was a child and I shouldn't have been smoking, it really helped me. It really helped me to be able to deal with those emotions that I was feeling.
Was that a different uncle or the same
It
uncle?
was a different uncle, my uncle Dennis. Yeah, he lived with me and everything. He was the one who lived with us. My uncle Richard lived with us too, but he only lived with us when he came home for jail for a short period of time. But Dennis actually had his own room at the house and stuff like that.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That's a lot to have to process through as a little boy. Yeah.
And I think the marijuana helped me process that, even though I shouldn't have been smoking as a child, but it really helped me, because sometimes after that I had suicidal thoughts, and the marijuana is what helped me, get through what I was feeling and dealing with.
So did the marijuana lead to other things as well, or was that?
Oh yeah. First it was marijuana, when I was 14, 15, that's when marijuana really picked up. Me and my friend, we would ditch school, smoke. His house was right in the back of the school. So all I would do is act like I'm going to school, walk through the field, hop the gate, go in his house. Me and him was smoking. But yeah, the marijuana led to, me doing ecstasy. And when I got a hold of ecstasy, I'm not gonna lie, like, I enjoyed ecstasy because, I was not really social how I am now, but when I popped the ecstasy, that's what they say, you pop it. When I popped the ecstasy, I was a social butterfly. I was dancing, I was in the clubs, and I looked at it as, a party drug, which that's what it was. I wasn't addicted to ecstasy. That's how I was able to stop. But yeah, I did ecstasy from, I say, I got my own apartment in 2006. So about 19, and I stopped 2006. I stopped maybe around 2013, 14. So I was doing ecstasy on and off for about 7, 8 years. And then after I stopped the ecstasy, one of my friends introduced me to coke. And, it was just something when we went out to the club. Again, that was something else I wasn't addicted to. I really didn't like coke because it would make my stomach hurt, where, I'll have bowel problems. So I really didn't, I could count on one hand how many times I sniffed coke. But yeah, ecstasy was a drug that I chose so I could go, have fun, party. Yeah. And other than that, I never tried crystal meth or anything other. Like my cousins, they did sherm, which is PCP. I never tried it. I was always around, but I couldn't stomach the smell of the PCP, the sherm, so I never tried it myself. And I would see how they would act off of it, and I didn't want that same effect, so I never tried it. But ecstasy and cocaine, yeah, I did do that. I did cocaine, maybe 5 times, but ecstasy, when I started it, I'm not gonna lie. Well, I can't say I was addicted, because if you look at it from a doctor's perspective, I was, because I popped it every day. So I popped ecstasy almost every day. Yeah.
And then, so did your sons, were they instrumental in helping you stop those as well? Or what was?
Yeah, because I got out of jail in 2012, and I was trying to do the godly thing, right? But it was just so overwhelming. Um, um, the day that I got out, I started back smoking marijuana because it was overwhelming for me because I was just facing 25 years to life, and it's like how I'm already back at home. So I went back to, smoking cigarettes after being clean for a year, smoking cigarettes, smoking the marijuana, and I was trying to do the right thing. My son was 3 months old when I came home. But then when I had Cameron in 2013, that's what really helped me stop, because now it's like I was taking care of him. Even though the mom was there, I was there most of the time taking care of him. She would leave him with me because she knew that I was a good father. So it's like I couldn't be doing this stuff when I had him, you know. So I had to quit, I had to. And how I quit too is I had to get rid of those friends that I was around. Like right now, the only friends that I do have are the ones that I meet at school or at networking events. I don't have any of the friends that I grew up with that I surrounded myself with. And that's because I'm not saying that I'm easily peer pressured, but sometimes you want to have fun. And I understand that my life is different now, that any little mistake that I make could cost me everything. And I don't want to end up, back on drugs or back in jail. So I have to do the right thing, not only for myself, but for my kids and what I'm doing in the community for the youth. I can't be telling the youth don't do drugs, but I'm over here getting high. I'll be a hypocrite.
And we appreciate you for overcoming all of those obstacles and pushing forward to do what you're doing now, which is actually turning that into helping the community and even yourself and your family. And that's huge.
Thank you. And that's why I think, after, dealing with you and Dr. Beard, I'm interested in a lot about smoking cessation, because I think that, somebody like me, where, yes, I don't deal with a lot of people in the community, but they know me because I grew up here. I feel that maybe, I can help them, to show them different ways and tools to help them for they'll be able to quit, because it's unhealthy, especially for us. We want to live a long life, but sometimes we can't because we're dependent on certain stuff that affects our health. And people are unaware of all the additives that's in and the chemicals that's in nicotine.
Right.
And that's what makes it addictive. But if I can bring awareness surrounding, like, hey, it's going to be hard, but just imagine you keep smoking and doing what you're doing, you're not going to be here for long. You're not going to see your kids grow old. And that's my main focus, is to see my kids graduate high school, have kids, go off to college, go to the Army if that's what they choose to, and, to become successful members of society. So I just want to give back, and hopefully one day, I could teach smoking cessation in the community where I live.
Thank you. We definitely applaud you. Definitely applaud.
Thank you.
Fighting the good fight and not giving up, going through those steps and, persevering, because it's not easy. And I understand that it's definitely not easy to persevere, especially when there's so many oppositions. There's so many people around you who are saying to do the opposite, and you feel like you're alone doing that, and you're not. And see that.
And thank you for saying that, alone, because like the past couple months, the cravings, even though it's been 6 months, for some reason, sometimes I still crave it. And, I think it was because the unhealthy environment I was in, and that's what you say, being alone. Yeah, it is. This journey is my own, and I have to depend on myself, but it was a hard one. So I know that if I could get through it, a lot of other people will be able to get through it, because yes, it was hard for me.
No, you're definitely not alone. That's one thing to keep in mind. It may feel that way, but you're not.
Thank you.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to say or share, Gary?
I would just like to say, the road is long and hard, but if you want a long and healthy life, then this is something that you have to give up, and it's going to be hard. There's going to be times where you're having withdrawals, cold sweats. You think that you don't know how you're going to manage because, we're addicted to this stuff. But all you have to do is, you know, have faith in God, have faith in yourself, but develop tools and skills to help you to when you're having the cravings or you feel like you need to pick up a cigarette and smoke and stuff like that. You know, like you said, there is people and we're not alone. So, you know, reach out and ask for help. There's smoking cessation classes. There's people who, you know, are coaches to help to coach you through on developing the right skills to help you stop. And there's different ways, different there's different techniques to help you. But in the long run, when you look at it, you know, you're going to be more healthy. You're not going to have the phlegm and coughing every morning and spitting up the mucus or the tar and stuff like that. So I'd say, you know, just it's going to be long and hard, but it's going to be well worth it.
Worth it. Yeah, definitely worth it. Thank you very much, Gary. Really appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having
Thank you.
me.
And all the best to your family, your sons, and everything that you're doing, your mom. And we wish you the best. And, you know, we'll be in touch.
Thank you so much, Reese. You
You're
have a
welcome.
great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So we just met with Gary Williams, who shared his cessation story again. And we just love hearing the powerful impact that education and not quitting on yourself has on a life. And we wish him the best in everything. And we will be working with Gary in the future as well. So if you have any questions about cessation, if you're interested in joining the cessation movement or doing more in your community to stop what the tobacco industry is doing or what other industries are doing to lie, to cheat, to steal people's lives and their well-beings, then definitely reach out to us. All of the information is available in the Breaking Free e-zine. We'd love to chat with you, talk with you, and help walk you through what your goals are in the cessation journey. Again, my name is Sharice Shields, and we appreciate you on behalf of Dr. Karen Beard and the entire staff of Breaking Free. Have a wonderful, wonderful, healthy summer and enjoy your family, and we'll be in touch. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.